Socioeconomic status is one's relative standing in the society based on income, power, background, and prestige.
High SES schools, or schools that have students from high SES backgrounds, are more likely to do better in academics, as shown in the Fraser Institute rank. These schools are usually private schools or highly funded public schools and therefore have access to an abundance of resources. They typically have lower percentages of ELL and special needs students than low SES schools, and due to these schools' overall achievement rankings, the students that go to these schools are perceived as intelligent.
In contrast to this, low SES schools do rather poorly in terms of academic achievement. As shown on the Fraser Institute rankings, schools at the bottom of the rankings have students from low average income families. The percentage of students with special needs, disabilities, and ELL students are very high, so they need adequate number of specialists in these areas, but due to the lack of funding, these specialists are not readily available. Students may also display bad behavior, and these schools have a hard time getting teachers to work in these schools due to teachers' negative perceptions.
Some problems that low SES schools face are the lack of resources, negative attitudes, and parental involvement. Low SES schools lack the ability to provide sufficient personnel and material resources. Typically, low SES schools have many ELL, special needs, behavioral, and learning disabled students, but lack available specialists to help these students. The inability to hire specialists is due to the expensive cost of specialists compared to teachers, so these schools would rather hire teachers than specialists since it is more cost effective. It is also because of negative perceptions of low SES schools, such as having badly behaved children or the school being situated in a bad neighborhood, that scare potential hires away. As well, low SES schools lack the ability to adequately provide material resources, such as technology and school supplies. Students are in need of basic school supplies, and from field experience, we observe teachers having to buy the materials themselves.
Low SES schools typically have teachers and students display negative attitudes towards education. Students in low SES schools have experienced many difficulties in their lives, such as living in poverty, growing up in a single-parent household, or dealing with abuse or even dealing with health issues. Older students may have to work part-time jobs due to the fact that they may be independent students or that they may need to help to support their families. Having to deal with so many issues outside of school pushes education aside in terms of priorities and fosters a belief that school is a waste of time and that it isn't important, leading to decreased engagement in schools and low attendance rates.
Some teachers may also display negative attitudes in low SES schools. They may say things such as, "Shut up, shut your mouth, throw away your gum. If you want to rot your teeth, do it on your own time." Teachers working in low SES schools may interpret the environment as toxic as they focus on the negatives of the school, such as the lack of resources. They may think, "Why did I have to be stuck working at a school that is so poorly funded and with such poorly behaved children?"
Students in low SES schools have parents that work long hours, and because of this, they do not have the time to be involved in helping their children with their education. Parents want their children to succeed in their education because they want them to have a better future than they did. However, parents with low SES do not have extra time to spend with their children to help them with their schoolwork or get involved in their child's school.
Because of minimal parental involvement within the schools are unable to form parent councils, which help to get funding. Because of this, the lack of a parent council is one of the factors in low SES schools having a lack of funding. Due to the lack of funding, it affects every facet of the school. This is how we can ensure students in low SES schools have an equal opportunity to succeed as their more well-off peers.
We can help these schools with their budget problems through better allocation of education funds. We can also educate potential future teachers about what to expect in low SES schools, such as how to teach ELL students and promote learning opportunities such as interacting with special needs students, as well as debunking negative perceptions.
By promoting the importance of education and obtaining better careers, helping students manage their time effectively, such as their part-time jobs and school hours, and by fostering a caring and personal environment for students will improve their attendance, become more engaged, and be more motivated to attend school.
It is also important to make sure teachers interpret the working environment more positively. Seeing the opportunity to help these students and understand why some students behave poorly due to issues outside of school will allow teachers to better understand their environment and appreciate the fact that they have the ability to make a difference in the school.
Also, a positive school culture must be promoted. And in order to do so, we must make sure that resources can be effectively provided to students and staff, and promote positive attitudes in teachers and students. Positive school culture is associated with higher student motivation and achievement, and more positive attitudes towards school.
There are also groups that teachers and staff can interact with, such as online website groups that give support to low SES schools and raise awareness of the problems inside these schools.
Although low SES can affect a student's learning and a teacher's teaching negatively, it does not always have to be like this, as we have shown.